So there's a lot of things that are contradictory to their culture, that we just do here every day. So we're the most hated people on the planet. I'm sorry, y'all. If our plane goes down, we're dead. Yeah, we're
Well,
dead.
actually, not the most. Actually, Chinese are the most hated currently. Americans, depending on the country, are most. It's true. I mean, I think Raul even also talking about Chinese are the most hated right now, more than
Well, I'm
Americans.
agreeing with you this time, Amira. We're not fighting yet. We will fight, but not now. I'm on your side.
I wouldn't call it a fight. I'd call it you losing severely most of the time, but that's okay. But what I wanted to say was Chinese are the most
Oh.
hated. And right now, Americans, depending on the country that you go to, in some countries, Americans are like worship. They're like, oh my gosh, you're here, like teach us something. But in other countries, we're disdain. I don't even think there's a country where you can go to and people are like, oh, Americans are okay. It's either they love you or they hate you.
So your plane goes down in the middle of a third world country. You are one of few survivors. What is your plan for survival? How do you make it back to the States? You have no cell phone and your passport burned in the plane crash.
Easy.
You said easy? Go, go.
Let's hear it.
I'm already on a third world country, so I'm surviving. I'm alive. We have everything that you guys have. All you have to do is go to the U.S. Embassy and just report that.
Okay, so that's your put. That was so not fun. It's like, does anybody have a fun answer?
Well, first off, we have to eat the other people. So, like, who's the fattest person on the plane?
We're not eating people. They're animals.
Well, then I got nothing.
I would say make friends, find your way with the locals first. I mean, depending on if they look friendly or not, because if you are landed in the middle of the jungle, there are cannibals in the jungles, especially in, like, I believe the Amazon. You have
Brazil.
So it depends on which country you land in. If it's going to be a third world country, like in my part of the world, Middle East, I would go through the locals and try to figure out how I can survive the night, first of all, because when the night comes, you don't know. If you're in the middle of nowhere, you don't know how you're going to survive even one night, nevertheless make it to your country. So you're going to have to find a way to socialize a little bit with the people and slowly find your way back to a city. And you said your passport burned. So, I mean, unless you want to do it the Mexican way and jump some walls, you're going to have to wait until they can figure out how to get a copy of your passport or, contact your family. But that would be my view. I would start with finding my way through the night and then moving on until I get home.
I think it matters what country you land on. That's definitely true.
But Amir's making friends with the locals. Trigger Mike?
You said the plane went down. I have no passport, and what else?
No cell phone, and your passport burned in the plane crash.
Why are y'all being so optimistic? We're dead. First off, if I'm with other people and I have to depend on them, I'm probably definitely going to die. They're going to ask someone like me to lead the group, prior military, prior infantry. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be like, yeah, we're going to die. If I can't move on my own, right? Like, let's say I got my children and my wife with me. Oh, I'm dead. They're not gonna move. They're gonna complain. Oh my god! And then that's one side of it. So, movement is life, right? And if you have to drag people with you, slow you down, you're gonna die. So that's first off. Second off is that if we are Americans on that plane, we're already dead. No matter where we land, people hate us. They're not gonna help us. People hate Americans. Not only that, we don't know how to talk to people. We're super entitled. We don't know how to go, with our tails between our legs. We're going to walk around acting like we own the place. So we're going to go to a bunch of the locals, even approaching them. They're going to want to snap our heads off. So I don't think we're surviving that at all. We're all dead.
Where do you get that people hate Americans from?
Europeans.
No, Europeans don't like to be compared to Americans. That's different.
No. There is an actual hate, especially in France. They disdain Americans.
Oh, France is like the worst. France is like the worst. Yeah,
they disdain Americans.
Yeah, they'll pretend like they can't speak English. Like, oh no, oui, no, sorry. because they
I
don't
mean-
even want to deal with you. Like,
And you know what it is, though.
Learn the
You know what it
language.
is. So my wife even said it. I've experienced it from living in Europe for a year, but my wife experienced it just on a trip. They had a layover in Paris, like a 24-hour layover. So they left the airport and did stuff. And she's like, "Why are the people so mean there? This, that, and the third." I said, "Well," she was like, "We were trying to ask for this," and I was like, "Well, how did you ask?" That's it. If you go there acting like you own the place, you don't say excuse me, you don't even learn how to say s'il vous plaît, all this type of stuff, they're gonna be like, forget you. You're American. You
But
have to go to them humbly.
That's not Americans. That's just a matter of manners. Like it doesn't matter where you're from. If you don't have manners, I think
Americans don't have manners.
I agree with that.
Lost
I
art.
agree with that. So it's not that people hate Americans, but yes, I would say in a way they kind of believe. Okay, so let me put it this way: Americans see themselves as something, or specifically in a way they think they're something, but
Mhm.
they don't know how people look at them from the outside. If it makes sense. So we don't
Yeah.
hate Americans, but we don't like the attitude that they get with people because they try to look at us down.
like a
And we don't like that.
condescending
We don't like
attitude.
that.
No
I
need
feel
to
like-
defend Americans. It is.
I'm like, you
people
find a
hate-
very
But
nice
I work with a lot of Americans. That's what I'm saying. And I don't think you ever been in El Salvador, Trigger Mike, because here it's like people are so friendly. They get like a different perspective. I work with French. It was a French couple, like and they were actually leaving the touristic area because they were being confused with Americans. And I was like, they didn't like to be confused because they think all they want is money, money, money. So it's not, that's what I'm saying. Like I never got that from them. Like they hate it. It's just they don't like to be compared and they don't like the attitude that they get.
Yeah, I think if you left your bubble there, and usually, it's probably that you can create an environment where it can work. There are different pockets of the world where the American embassy or the American military is there. And maybe somewhere in that area they've created a safe space because it's so massive, right? But I mean, even on that alone, even the places we have bases, those people hate us. They hate the sailor. Like I'm prior military. They hate us fraternizing with their women, right? They hate us, like they hate everything about us. But it's really because we don't have manners. They disdain something about us. They think we're all about money. They also don't like the fact that we're so trigger happy and that we always want to fight and we have guns and we'll shoot somebody. So there's a lot of things that are contradictory to their culture, that we just do here every day. So we're the most hated people on the planet. I'm sorry, y'all. If our plane goes down, we're dead. Yeah.
Well, actually, not the most. Actually, Chinese are the most hated currently. Americans, depending on the country, are most. It's true. I mean, I think Raul even also talking about Chinese are the most hated right now, more than Americans.
I'm agreeing with you this time, Amira. We're not fighting yet. We will fight, but not now. I'm on your side.
I wouldn't call it a fight. I'd call it you losing severely most of the time, but that's okay. But what I wanted to say was Chinese are the most hated. And right now, Americans, depending on the country that you go to, in some countries, Americans are like worship. They're like, oh my gosh, you're here, like teach us something. But in other countries, we're disdain. I don't even think there's a country where you can go to and people are like, oh, Americans are okay. It's either they love you or they hate you, I believe. I don't know. Tell me what your guys' experience
What do you
are.
think, Brian? You're from Puerto Rico. Fee, you are in Canada, in Bangladesh. Do you hate Americans?
No, back home, if they find out that you are American or you're from the foreign, they're gonna rob you. Like you can't just, they will rob you. You get killed. You get, ransom, kidnapped. Like it's some real shit. Like it's some real poverty over there. The kids are walking around with no diapers. Like that's what I saw, and I thought it was normal. So when
Hold
I came
on,
here,
save it. Save it.
sorry.
I have questions. Don't go there yet. Hold on.
No, but yeah, no. I mean, just you have to pretend like you're one of them. Like you have to pretend like you live there, and yeah, just like any other country that you would really go to, right? You can't just like act like you're this like a sore thumb sticking out, right? Like nobody wants that.
Okay.
Just know
Brian?
you'll get messed.
Brian, do you hate? I mean, I know you're from Puerto Rico. And I know it's considered a
We're a territory.
Territory.
Yes.
Territory.
We are a territory. or just something that they purchased years ago. So I would say I don't hate Americans. It's just some other people basically. I mean, right now I live in the United States, so I can't complain. If I hated it that much, I wouldn't be living here, or wouldn't be staying here. But the only thing I would say that I don't like about, at least the situation about how they're handling, if Puerto Rico is a territory, how they're handling the whole territory situation and helping us and all that stuff. Basically, I just feel like they're just looking for ways to kick the natives out to get Americans into the country. And so,
didn't you guys get offered like twice to be a state, and you guys voted no?
No, we vote yes almost every time.
That's not true.
Elections.
That's not true.
Who stopped you in Congress? Which party stopped you?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you know your politics of your country.
I think it was the
that's not true.
I'm not a politician.
Okay.
But
you are an optician.
I have voted in the times that I have voted in Puerto Rico. Every single time since I've been born, every single time it has been voted for statehood.
So you said yes, like to be another state of the United States and stop.
Yes, as in Puerto Ricans vote to choose what they want to be, because they can vote for independence. They can vote to stay as a Estado Libre Asociado, however it's called in English. I don't know how it's called. How they are right now.
Yeah. Sovereign state.
And they can vote for statehood. And I know that for a fact that the few times that I have voted in Puerto Rico, it has always been statehood that has won.
And so we got knocked down in our Congress.
Correct.
Okay. Do you guys know the main reason? Oh, go ahead, Rose. Sorry. Were you done? Oh, okay. I think the most reason why people hate Americans is because Americans, when they come to our countries, like when we're in the Middle East, when they come to our country, they expect everyone else to speak their language. Like I've seen Americans in restaurants in the Middle East talking to people as if they're stupid because they speak their own language in their own country. And it's like, they're like, well, what? Nobody speaks English around here. Nobody speaks American. And it's like, why do you feel entitled that everyone has to speak your language when you're traveling the world? There's going to be places where no one speaks your language.
Because we have a lot of stupid people in our country that honestly believe that our country is the center of the universe. We are a very large country, and I just read a report, 54% of our population reads below an 8th grade level.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either.
Our education system
go really well into Kelly's thing as far as why do we have so much poverty and such a rich nation. It's part of the deal. We're supposed to have stupid people here, and they will have disposable income, and they will go out and they will express themselves stupidly.
Yep, I agree with that. I heard a tourist saying there's no one that speaks good English here. Like he didn't know I was around, but I understood what he said, and I'm not gonna raise my hand with someone with that attitude. But he said, "Is there someone that speaks good English?" And I'm like, "I speak 2 languages, but you only speak 1."
Aren't you the person who rebutted me when I said people hate Americans for this exact thing? I said this is why people hate Americans. I will go to another person's country and get that little thing. Even if you ask them for it on the plane, sometimes they have that booklet where you can learn simple words in other people's language. It is this simple. My father taught me a lifelong lesson in less than 30 seconds. When in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Exactly.
Okay,
and I think they appreciate it. They appreciate that
he said that is your card. And then the funny thing he said that about, he said, you want to really, I went to him, I think this was weird. This was like 8th grade where we were having that slavery talk. And the white teacher kept looking at me like I was supposed to explain it to everybody. I didn't. And I went and asked my dad about it. And I was like, well, he said, don't listen to any of that. He's like, don't. That stuff is going to indoctrinate you into thinking you're a victim and this. And the teaching that I got was, he's like, actually, African people, he's like you, and then they're kind of revered around the world for our size. He's like, you're a bit different. And he said, one thing we always have is this sense of courtesy, right? People know a lot of history, and they teach African history in other parts of the world. So when they finally see you, and then you're there, you're gracious, you're trying to speak their language, you're shaking their hand, you want to know their customs. If they bow to their elders, you bow to their, like, we do all that stuff. And I've known that for a very long time. I've never had a problem out of country. I've never had a problem in someone else's house, because that's simple teaching you can pass on to your kids. Show respect and do as these people expect you to do when you in their house. It's simple.
I agree, but a lot of people don't take the time to even learn the customs of the country that they're visiting. And I think that will go a long way. Even learning a few words like hello or finding out where the restroom is, I think that they would appreciate that you tried, and they'll be more apt to help you, I think, versus like nobody here speaks English. Nobody here speaks English around these parts. Like,
Yeah.
That's right. That's how Sarira, her and I both talk Swahili, and she learned how to say hello properly, and I helped her with that.
oh my God.
She left. Otherwise, that would have been a great.
What else did you help her with?
Don't
Ro?
even act.
What
Don't.
was the question?
We were talking about how you spoke a different dialect of Swahili than I do.
I did. When did I do that?
Don't even engage. Don't engage.
All right, well, we won't do that.
Okay, did anyone else want to answer the icebreaker before I go to the trivia?
Yes, we eat the fat people first.
Eat the fat people. Okay.
I said we have to get supplies from the plane. I mean, if you survive the plane crash, the plane must have survived. Something from the plane must have survived.
Okay.
So just even if you have to dig through other carcasses of people dead, you can find a phone, or you can find a water or something that you can use.
Yeah.
So you ransack the plane and you try to find whatever resource you can gather.
I mean, at that point, what other options do you have?
I feel like with everyone's answer, like if everyone in this was from this panel was on the plane, we would survive. We would ransack the plane. Trigger Mike would have us follow him through the woods. We would go with Amir. She'd help us meet with the locals. We'd find a place to stay. We would survive. Raul would be the only person eating the fat people.
No, we
Did you not hear what I said? I'm leaving y'all
That's
behind.
level 1, and then we move from there.
I'm leaving the group.